It's Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. Thanks for joining me today. A lot of things to talk about. Markets are just basically on standby, waiting to see what Jerome Powell and the Fed is going to do tomorrow. Will it be 25 basis points? Will it be 50 basis points? Does it make a difference? Yes, it does, because as they begin cutting, this is going to cause more inflation. You're going to be paying more at the store. If they go 50, I think that could potentially panic markets tomorrow. We shall see. Maybe it will have the opposite effect. I think they're going 25. But just to talk about a topic a little bit out of the ordinary here, before we get into the rest of the video, I watched a video last night, and I've watched many of these videos, a lot of the car videos here in Southern California, where, you know, people driving nice cars, doing modifications. And I'm watching this video last night. This gentleman, younger guy, has a really nice BMW. It's a bit modified. He's driving somewhere in Southern California. I could not figure out what city it was, where he's from, but somewhere here in Southern California. And he's driving in traffic on the freeway, and he gets pulled over by an undercover or unmarked police car. And they pull him over, and they ask him if he's, you know, done any modifications to the car. Then they say, "Pop your hood. Pop the hood of your car." And we have the right to tell you to pop the hood of your car if we believe there's modifications. So then he says, "Well, can I do it? It's a carbon fiber hood. It's very expensive." Well, why do you want to do that? Is there a trick to it? You know, we'll let you out, but we're gonna have to pat you down. I mean, this dude is driving a $100,000+ BMW. They're patting him down, treating him like a criminal because he might have made some modifications to his car. And you know, I'm watching this stuff, and I'm just watching what's happening every day. You watch this channel, you watch other channels, you're paying attention to what's going on. We were watching a social collapse take place in this country. We have a fentanyl crisis. We have a drug crisis in America. We have a gang crisis. We have a homeless crisis. We have a shoplifting crisis. We have graffiti all over our cities out here in parts of Southern California. Crime is running rampant. We got people from all over the world just wandering around. We have an inflation crisis. People are living paycheck to paycheck. And what do the police do? They want to pull a guy over in a $100,000+ BMW, and they want to know if he modified his car. Pop your hood. And now we're going to not give you a fix-it ticket. We're going to state refute. This is where the state of California makes you go to a location where they plug your car into a computer. They're looking for any modifications, any tunes, cold air intake, exhaust modifications, this, that, whatever, and they're going to fine you a lot of money. Don't we have bigger problems in the world, in the state of California, than to worry about if somebody modified their BMW? Why are we using our police agencies, our law enforcement, to go after people like this? This just blows my mind. This dude wasn't speeding. He wasn't acting like an a-hole. He was in bumper-to-bumper traffic, and an unmarked police car pulls him over. While we have gangs, drugs, crime, graffiti, fentanyl, they're stealing the copper out of all the lights in Los Angeles, and yet we're putting our police to work to go after law-abiding citizens. Okay, maybe he modified his car. Oh my goodness. But, you know, obviously somebody paying their taxes, somebody that's not out, you know, causing trouble, somebody who is doing the speed limit, people who are paying that officer's paycheck. But these are the people being treated like criminals now. The people driving around in nice cars, the people who work hard, the people who are paying their taxes, they're now the criminal, not the people that are, you know, going into the stores in California and shoplifting, stealing up to $950. No, they're not the criminal. You're the criminal if you're driving around in a BMW with a modified exhaust. Absolutely repulsive what people are dealing with. I mean, people are living, you know, maybe not this gentleman, he's doing okay apparently, but a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. You get a speeding ticket here, it's $350, $400. it's absurd how people are being treated while we are watching a social collapse take place right before our very eyes. I wish they worried this much about the drug epidemic, the homeless crisis, all the graffiti on the buildings out here, all the shoplifting, all this stuff. I wish they worried as much about that as they did about people driving modified cars in a state which was once the car capital of the entire world, but now they're running, the car lovers out of the state now too. So I just, I don't want to rant. And nothing against the police, but this is not what we should be paying our police officers to do. There is way too much business out there for them to be taken care of, not busting people in BMWs. It's just absolutely ridiculous. It's almost embarrassing to watch this, that this is what we're using law enforcement for here in California, to go after people with nice cars. Unbelievable. Let me know your thoughts on this. I don't want to rant. It's not a car channel, but I just wanted to bring this up to you to get your opinion of this. Why are the police now going after the citizens, the law-abiding people who pay the taxes, who pay their paycheck? Isn't there crime out there? We've got, people being trafficked throughout this country, certainly through the state of California, and we're using our resources to go after people driving BMWs. It's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. Okay, shifting gears here. U.S. retail sales better than expected thanks to non-store retailers. So retail sales rose 0.1% month over month. Look, the brick and mortar stores, if you watched last week when we were in Santa Monica, it is absolutely over for most retailers with brick and mortar stores. They're in very, very big trouble. Santa Monica, another prime example of that. Also, I want to add this to it. We can say that retail sales did better than expected, but aren't people paying more and buying less? But they're having to pay more and get less. And I think that kind of has something to do with this also. American workers' wages are still losing the inflation race, new data confirms. Bankrate report shows U.S. prices have risen 20% while wages rose 17.4% since 2021. So how can retail sales be doing better when people are making less money? They're having to use credit cards to buy essentials and pay more and get less. They're buying the same things they bought a couple years ago, but they're paying a whole lot more. So another reason why I think retail sales are actually up a bit, it says here in this Fox Business article, if the job market continues to dive, someone's hours get cut, it's going to be absolutely impossible to fight inflation. According to this article on Fox, American workers' wages are still losing the inflation race. So again, we're watching the massive job layoffs, the losses. And if this continues to dive, if job losses continue to increase and people's hours continue to get shortened, they will lose the fight against inflation. Period. This is going to have a huge effect on the housing market, because if people don't work enough hours, if they lose a job, they don't buy a house. That's just how it works. Here's another one from Fox Business. U.S. economists send Fed warning on price increases ahead of anticipated rate decision. Be cautious. Former Fed official Thomas Honig and economist Stephanie Pomboy say inflation is higher than what we think. What is the real inflation number today? Nobody knows. What's the real unemployment number? Nobody knows. What are the real job losses? Nobody knows. Job creation? Nobody knows. Remember, they revised the job numbers by 818,000. So the data is very, very skewed. The data is very manipulated. The data is very wrong, ladies and gentlemen. So we don't even know. The Fed raised rates, 11 straight times, and inflation is still here. We're not at 2%, and they're going to begin cutting rates. Just in 2024, CPI is up 1.6%, and gold is up 20%. So CPI is saying one thing, but gold is saying another. So somebody's wrong here. The CPI is wrong or gold is wrong. And I don't think gold is wrong because I think gold is probably one of the best barometers in the world. Gold is going up for a reason because gold sees uncertainty, gold sees more inflation, gold sees trouble, and gold is going to continue to go up. Here's another one from Fox Business. Amazon to employees. In-person 5-day work week begins next week, or excuse me, next year. So it's back to work for everybody at Amazon. Now, you're going to, I believe, see more of this where companies are going to have to really optimize to make a profit. They're going to have to optimize to stay in business. They're going to need everybody back in the office because they know that they're not getting the optimization out of their employees by letting their employees stay at home and work. Most people, honestly, and I'll probably catch some heat for this, comment down below, most people cannot work by themselves. They need to be in an office. They need to have some, they need management, they need direction. They need somebody watching them, holding them accountable. People sitting at home, they're tempted to watch TV, maybe run to the store, maybe play with their kids, watch a movie, mow the lawn, whatever. We're going to see more of this now that companies are going to have to optimize the most that they can, the most out of their employees. And so the only way they can do that is getting people back in the office. So what do you think about this? Look, some people can work at home. They have no issue with it. They're very productive. Most people cannot. Here's an article from studyfinds.com. Growing up alone, shocking number of parents say their kids have no friends. Well, why is that? Take a guess. They're not outside playing. They're not riding bikes. They're not at the playground. They're in front of a computer, a phone, an iPad, and they have no communication skills. They are becoming zombies at a very young age. So as a kid sits for hours and hours a day in front of a phone, a computer, an iPad, how does that kid develop social skills when that child is not hanging out with his or her peers? So we see this with adults. They're complete zombies, stuck on this all day, walking around like a zombie with this. And many adults now, probably most, don't even have social skills. So now we have children starting at very, very young ages with this thing. This is probably one of the most dangerous things you can give a child. It's probably one of the worst things. The worst service you could do is give your kid a smartphone. Give them a phone in case there's an emergency, but do they need a smartphone? Because you're now allowing the world to have access, to gain access to your child. And we see this every day where people just walk around like zombies. You go to a store, you go to a restaurant, nobody can communicate. Why? Because they're on this all day. Their brains are just jelly. And now we're starting our kids out at a very, very young age with these. So after 20 years on this, and your kid, say, is 25, 26 years old, where will they be? I think this is one of the worst things you could give a kid. Let me know your thoughts on that. Here's another one from studyfinds.com. American breaking point, 41% say they're at peak stress right now. They're having trouble sleeping, irritability, they have fatigue, they have headaches, they have paranoia. Ladies and gentlemen, stress is a killer. You got to have some balance in your life. You got to be working out. You got to be spending time with family and friends. You got to be staying off this thing. You got to have some balance in your life. But a lot of this is due to the economy. People are now, years ago when I was making these videos, people would laugh at me. They would laugh at these videos and just say it was a joke. This could never happen. That could never happen. Things are going to be great forever. And now it's not a joke. Now people aren't laughing. Now people have paranoia. Now they can't sleep. Now they're irritable. Now they have fatigue. They're having headaches because, well, maybe they're not working 40 hours. Now they're working 28 or 32 hours. Their wages have not kept up with inflation. Now they're a couple payments behind on the car. Now they're 30 days behind on their mortgage. This is real life. And so what once was a joke to many people and they laughed about it, it is now happening to many of these people, and it's not a joke now because it's happening to them. See, it was a joke when it was happening to somebody else. It was a joke when the other person was homeless. It was a joke when the other person's car was repoed. Now it's happening to them. It's not a joke. Now it's a depression. Now it's a real depression. This is going to get much worse, unfortunately. And of course, this is when people make really big mistakes, when they're really stressed out. They go to booze, they go to drugs, they start talking about, potentially taking their life, or we see more domestic violence. And it's a really, really bad thing. The more people get stressed out. We've talked about this many, many times on this show about, just being out and about. And I see people stressed out. I see the road rage. We were coming back from LA last week. We saw two pretty good accidents where people were just driving like maniacs. But when you're driving 3 to 4 hours each way to work, and that's not an exaggeration, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it took us literally almost 5 hours to get home from Santa Monica to the desert. But imagine doing that day in and day out, the amount of stress that you are under. So stress is a killer. It's bad physically. It creates a lot of diseases. And so you want to be sleeping good. You want to be getting rest. You want to have balance in your life. You want to, not have a headache. You want to have some time with your family. But people are absolutely under more stress now than ever before because they are falling behind. They're falling behind on their bills. They're not getting ahead. They can't save money. They have to, maybe drive farther for a job, work harder, make less. And, the inflation that they keep telling us is literally non-existent, is not going away. It's really here. And it's still very, very bad. And when they begin cutting rates, it's going to get worse. People aren't seeing the real de-dollarization, the hedge today. It says here the world is slowly but surely spurning the dollar. The dollar is dying a death by a million cuts, ladies and gentlemen. It's not something where it's just going to collapse overnight. It's collapsing now. It's been collapsing. It's been dying a very, very slow death. Dollar reserves have dropped 14% since 2002. And when you look at the amount of central banks that are stockpiling gold, that is a huge red flag right there. These countries want to get away from the dollar. Countries are concerned that the U.S. could pull the dollar rug out from under them. So they're getting away from the dollar system, not just the dollar, but the dollar system. Central banks bought 1,037 tons of physical gold in 2023. The second straight year, banks added more than 1,000 tons to their total reserves. Gold is going up, ladies and gentlemen, because the dollar is going down, and the dollar is going to continue to be less important as we move on, because countries are trying to figure out a way to detach from it, and they're doing it. They have the new SIP system. You have the BRICS nations now. This is very, very real. It doesn't matter if Dave Ramsey thinks it's never going to happen. It is going to happen. It's happening right now. It's been happening. And it's another reason and another reminder that if you don't have real money, you are putting yourself and family in jeopardy. This is not financial advice. This is just us sitting here talking. My opinion only, what I'm doing. I'm making another order. I'm going to pick up some more metal. Preferably it will be gold. But if you can't afford gold, get yourself some silver. In fact, many people much smarter than myself are saying silver is the place to be. I have silver. I want to build up my gold reserves a bit more. So I'm going to order some gold. I'm going to see what happens tomorrow with the rate cut, what gold does. If it pulls back a little bit, or when it does pull back, I'm going to be making a purchase. But if you need any help with that, go to my link down below, SD Bullion. That's where I will be purchasing it. That's where I've purchased all my gold and silver over the past 7 years. SD Bullion, link down below. And the last article I want to share with all of you from the Turner radio show, Flash, Russia to increase military to 2.389 million men. Why is this a big deal? Well, because we're talking about, dropping or launching missiles deep into Russia through Ukraine. And so this could cause big, big trouble. And, we just think Russia is just, nobody. They have more nuclear weapons than anybody on planet Earth. Their hypersonic missiles are at another level. And now they're going to increase their military to over 2.38 million men, 2.389 million men. China their friend, has over 2 million. North Korea, their friend, 1.2 million. Pakistan, 640,000. Iran, 575,000. America, 1.2 million. We are really poking the bear here, ladies and gentlemen, and we better be very, very careful. We just had that nuclear sub, a couple months ago off the coast of Florida. They had that nuclear carrier over in Cuba. Now, I guess their nuclear subs are floating around off Alaska. America really has an ego problem, or we're almost like an egomaniac as far as the world looks at us. We have this huge ego that we cannot be stopped. The dollar is the king of all kings. Our military is the military of all militaries. There is incredible technology out there, and these countries are holding it. They have huge militaries, huge amounts of technology, huge amounts of nuclear weapons. To think that we're just gonna beat all these countries and be unscathed, that nobody would even ever think about doing anything to America. We better get out of that bubble really, really quick, because most of the world now does not fear America. Why should they? They're making everything. They're producing everything. They're holding all the gold, ladies and gentlemen. They have the biggest banks. America is a country of consumption. We are consuming things with this monopoly money that people don't even have. They're just borrowing it, and it's not even real money. It's just paper backed by nothing. At some point, why would these countries even want to sell anything to us for this paper, this monopoly money? They're going to want real money at some point. And when that day comes, and these countries go, hey, show us the gold, and we don't have any, or we don't have very much, we're going to be sitting at the very, very end of the table. And there's a new world coming, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not going to be stopped. A new world. It's going to be a new financial system. We're going to see new currencies. We're going to see, I believe, currencies backed by gold. The world is changing, and the world is not going to put up with America policing them. I'm sorry. I love this country. I don't believe that we should have 1,000 military bases across the world. I don't believe that we should be invading countries. I think that we can't even handle our own business right here. Why should we be protecting other countries' borders when we can't even protect our own right here? We've depleted half of our strategic petroleum reserves. We don't really make anything here. How would we even survive? How long would we even last in a world war? We don't even make most of our steel here. Most of the weapons we're importing now, the weapons that we did have, the drones we sent out to other countries, we've depleted those. So we better be very, very careful, because we are walking on thin ice. And we continue to finance these wars with money we don't have. We are a bankrupt nation. How does a bankrupt nation win a war? A nation that doesn't produce, manufacture, and is bankrupt and is loaded with consumers. We are a nation, 70% of our GDP is based on consumption. 70%. So the world knows this. The dollar is dying. America's superiority is dying, unfortunately. Maybe we can turn it around. But if we want to be enemies and we want to have 9,000 sanctions across the world, we're not going to have too many friends. And I don't know about you, but making enemies with countries with nuclear weapons is not very smart. Nobody wins. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. I really pray for this country. I pray for a miracle. I think we're going to see more chaos building to the election. And I was watching some people on television today saying that, we could really see big trouble in 2025, depending on who's elected. But no matter who is elected, we're going to see trouble. We're going to see serious trouble. The stock market, they said, no matter who is elected, you're going to see a stock market collapse. I believe that. I truly believe that. So, again, one person is not going to save the nation. The damage is done. There's too much debt out there. There's been too much manipulation. No matter who is elected, the market, the stock market will crash. You're going to see a depression in America. You need to be preparing for this. God bless. Stay safe. Comment down below, and please like, share, and subscribe.